Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm in the car today because we're still having construction and they're so loud, and you wouldn't have been able to hear me had I stood in the studio. So I'm in the car trying to record and get this out to you guys. So what we have going on here today is I've been asked many times about what made me make the decision to look into all this stuff and to seek the truth and change my views with religion and church. I go, church like that. The way I speak, vocabulary, politics, my views on life and the perception, and just kind of like understand. I also get questions too about, especially about politics, because this is the first year that I did not vote. So don't get in the comments with nothing. I will explain that in part two. I think I have about that. So this is going to be a 4-part special because I'm thorough, so I break things down so that you can kind of understand where I'm at. And maybe this will answer all the questions, and then also answer questions for anybody else that have any, and maybe give some insight. This series I've been working on for a while because I wanted to make sure that I do my research and provide as much value and understanding for where I'm at. And also give people that don't know or maybe want to know and seek in the truth just some information and just some little tidbits so that they go look up themselves. Each one of these points, though, I will be going more in depth because it's way more in depth than I can put on a video. We're already at 2 hours, and that's why I'm breaking up in four parts. And I haven't even, in some sections of it, I haven't even put the vocals in. I've just been putting things in spots so that I can go ahead and do my reaction. It'll be all day. It will be a long process if I try to go in depth on each topic, but it's kind of an overview. So part one, Bible translations and things like that in that aspect. Let's go ahead and get this party started. How about that? So grab whatever you need to chill out with me and let go. The first, 3 through 17 verses of chapter 33 in Ezekiel. And I'm using the Geneva Bible translation. So I'm not going to read it all because it's a lot. I just encourage you to either screenshot it or write it down, the whole thing, but like the verses, and go read on your own. This verse is in regards to the watchman, and the watchman's job is to sound the alarm or blow the trumpet or to warn the people of who's coming to the land or what they know or what they found out. No, not to the Masonic order by all means, but 33 being so attached to me in so many different ways and in so many different aspects. When I ran into this verse in this chapter, I just was, flabbergasted. I was really just like, wow. It's crazy how, your journey in life is actually a certain kind of way. I'm sure y'all don't gotta understand it or at least to skim through this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this audio portion off and let's continue the video. Let go.
Did you know that the Geneva Bible might just be the most accurate English translation of the Bible? Let's dive into why this historical gem beats the King James Version. First off, the Geneva Bible was published in 1560, predating the King James Version by over 50 years. It was the first English Bible to use numbered verses and was packed with notes and references that helped readers understand the text. These features were revolutionary for the time and made it immensely popular among Protestant reformers. The translators of the Geneva Bible were English exiles in Geneva, Switzerland, escaping Queen Mary's persecution. They had access to a wealth of scholarly resources and were deeply committed to accuracy. Their work was based on the best Hebrew and Greek manuscripts available, ensuring a precise translation. Now let's contrast this with the King James Version. While it's beautifully written and widely revered, the King James Bible was commissioned by King James I of England in 1604 with the goal of unifying the Church of England. The translation was done by committees who had to follow strict guidelines, sometimes prioritizing political unity over textual accuracy. Moreover, the Geneva Bible's marginal notes were so detailed and insightful that King James himself disliked them, considering them a threat to his authority. This led to the Geneva Bible being slowly phased out in favor of the King James Version. In summary, the Geneva Bible's precision, scholarly notes, and user-friendly format truly set it apart. So, next time you pick up a Bible, consider giving the Geneva Version a read. You might just find it to be the most enlightening experience. Thanks for watching.
My mother didn't know that King James was King of England. She just thought God sent him here to write this. She didn't know King James was such a weird, strange homosexual. He hated women so bad he killed his mother, and his lover was Buckingham Palace. His name was, his lover was Lord Buckingham, who Buckingham Palace is named after. Oh, come on, y'all. So where do you go? Where do it go, you know?
Look at this verse that was changed in the King James Version Bible from the Geneva Bible. This is John 3:36. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. Right, so that is the King James, right? This is the Geneva Bible. It's from 1560 and it came before the King James. He that believeth in the Son hath everlasting life, and he that obeyeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. So we got he that obeyeth not the Son, and he that believeth not the Son. That is a huge difference. That one word changes an entire doctrine. Now, why were some words and sentences removed and changed from the Geneva Bible to the King James? Not to mention, there was 15 books removed, which are all found in the Geneva Bible. King James actually outlawed the Geneva Bible in 1616. I think certain things they changed so that it would not threaten his authority. Now, I do believe that the King James Bible is the Word of God and that we can trust it. But I think I'm going to continue to dig into this Geneva Bible and find more changes. So if you guys want to...
Did you know King James was an evil man that was deeply into the occult and wrote a demonology book? Yes, the same man who rewrote the Bible. But let's not forget how evil this man was. In his time, he would buy out all the kids from orphanages, even from other countries. And he used to rape, sell, trade, sacrifice kids. He went through 5,000 kids in his lifetime. And King James was gay. So before King James revised the Bible, it stated, man should not lie with children. So King James revised it to, man shall not lie with man. And since King James was a pedophile, it makes sense why he revised that part. So you see, not everything in the Bible was written by God or Jesus. Of course, the government wouldn't let you read the book with facts in it, right? Shit that would be helpful to humanity. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. Did you know?
Hey everyone. So I wanted to kind of like tell you guys the structure of how I'm gonna have these videos. I wanted you guys to get the content more than you get the visual of me talking. So I have it to where I'm playing some videos and then I'm gonna pop back in, but I'm still watching them with you. These last videos were rather interesting, to say the least. So they took us for a different turn, I can say, but I added them because I wanted you guys to understand why I use the Geneva translation. And being that 33 is such a personal number to me and is very much attached to everything that I have done, even my being. And it was solely by divine nature. When I figured out about the different versions of the Bible and then how that stuff happened with King James, I figured I would do injustice and I would be against my own word if I did not include that translation. But however, it was crazy to hear that King James wrote the first Bible that he wrote was the Demonology Bible. How many people knew that? I know when I found that out, I did not know that. It would have been nice to know, but I didn't know at all. So when I found that out, I was like, things that make wordings you go, and you could change like one word. Literally, you could change one word or two words and completely change the depth, like the meaning of a sentence, a paragraph, a page. It doesn't matter. You can change it completely just by changing a word. And being that words are frequencies and words have power, considering the Bible does say death and life is in the power of the tongue, then to change the words, you changing the whole energy you putting out or trying to get back in. It's kind of like once you learn that, you really start to understand this stuff was changed and done, not for my good. No. And once again, I think we're starting to kind of understand the route in which I'm going, that they ain't for us. You can say the Kendrick Lamar song, they ain't like us or whatever. I don't really like Kendrick Lamar that much, but, cool. I wanted to talk about the fact that there are two different Bibles. I'm not sure if you guys know about that. There's the canon, and then there's the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha consists of the hidden books of the Bible, the hidden books they don't want you to know about. And then the canon is the books that we all read and we all know as the Holy Bible, which consists of 39 Old Testaments and 27 New Testaments. We added up with simple, basic math. That's 66 books. Other than that, and then the Catholic Bible is actually 73 books because they added 7 to the Old Testament. The Apocrypha is the breakdown of the things that they decided that we didn't need to know. And when I say decided that we didn't need to know, I'm talking in regards to all the way back to when Martin Luther was over the Protestant Reformation, I believe. Yeah. He was the first person in 1534 to release the split Bible, the canon Bible, and then the Apocrypha Bible, which over time they decided that they didn't want to even let us know about it. So I found out about this, that there were two different Bibles. Crazy, you guys, like within a year and a half to 2 years ago. And I was like, what? Considering I was an altar server, I went to Catholic school, I grew up in the church. I mean, I was very shocked to hear that. You know what I mean? But knowing what I know now, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense. But they decided to take certain books out of the Bible because they felt like it wasn't divinely inspired. I'll tell you this. I'm in the middle of writing a book, right? And I've been in this editing process for the longest. It's so much work. But if I was to release a book, give you the book, let you read chapter 1, take out chapter 2 through 14, jump you back at 15, would that not confuse you? Would that not be like, this is incomplete? So I don't even know what happened. What? How we just jump like that? Well, that's basically what they did. Because when you start listening to the Apocrypha, it gets those missing pieces. And I'm going to speak for me, because I can't speak for nobody else. But for me, I used to always be like, that's something missing. Like, the stories just stop. Like, what happened to them? It jumps. And as a future New York Times bestseller, as my other thing that I want to do, you guys, my grandma really calls me a lot. I love her, so I'm not playing grandma again. But I'll call her right back. She made me lose my track of thought. Without further ado, let's keep it going. Let go.
talk about scriptures, they talk about Old Testament, and then they talk about New Testament.
True.
All right. First of all, it is, again, totally unreasonable to look at this book and look at the entire left side. Now, I'm going to divide the book up the way they have divided it up, Elder, and we're going to see a difference. All right. Now, here we are right here. This book, if you can see this, because I can see this, Elder. Now, the right side of this book, we can see is called the New Testament.
Okay.
See, it's about yay thick.
That's right.
Now, that means the left side of the book, which is that side of the book that most people don't get into, the left side of the book is called the Old Testament.
That's true.
Now, my first question is how can we honestly say that everything over on the left side of this book is Old Testament? We can't say that, because that's not the Old Testament, and everything over here is not the New Testament. So my question is, why is there a sheet of paper here called the New Testament and it divides the book up?
Right.
Here I have a book called the Apocrypha. Now, this is the Apocrypha. Now, this Apocrypha was originally, in its original Bible, and I mean, you have a copy of that, Elder. This Bible right here is the King James 1611 version. You also have one too. This is a copy of the very first King James Version Bible ever. And within this Bible is not only what we have here in this modern day version Bible, but it is also the Apocrypha itself is contained in here. So basically, all that I have here now is all that this contains. So this contains everything here now. That's what I'm saying. Because this much has been removed. Yes. And when we hear people talk about scripture,
I was taught that the King James Version was the first English version of the Bible. First version translated into English. Why? As a matter of fact, way before the King James, the Geneva Bible was out. King James banned the Geneva Bible. And you say, wait a minute, if the Geneva Bible is such a good book, why was it banned? Well, let me tell you why it was banned. First of all, in any of this stuff that I've got, I'm more than willing to let you take a look at. This is a little pamphlet of the instructions to the translators. And if you see this, you understand real quick what's going on. You start to understand some of the things that are going on with it. And part of the thing is, let me just give you one quote out of the Geneva of 1591. Ephesians 6, 11, 12. See if you can figure out anything that might cause a king not to want to have this out. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may abide to stand against the assaults of the devil. For we wrestle not only against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Sounds pretty familiar so far, right? And against worldly governors, who are the princes of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. Now that basically says the governments are all evil. Can you understand why they would want to get rid of something like that? Well, they in fact did. And as a matter of fact, if you read the instructions, you find out that they left out a lot of things. The true meaning of baptism, the true meaning of what the church is. And the reason why they did it is they wanted to be able to control the people. They wanted to say that the government is divinely empowered and that the church you got to listen to, and of course he controlled the church. 1910 talks about some of the real purposes of the King James Version, and it's not what you were taught in school or not what you were taught most other places. So for those reasons, the King James Bible, and of course the following editions, there's a book called, by the way, New Age Bible Versions, and it's by Gail Rippliger. And it talks about 65,000 plus changes in the King James versions to some of the New Age versions. There's 20,000 changes from the Geneva to the King James. So you kind of get the idea that they're trying to change everything around so it means something totally different than what it originally meant. Let's talk about the pre-Revolutionary War. The Rothschilds. Their goal was to control the world through controlling money. Very simple philosophy. I don't care who the government is, let me control the money and I will control the country. And they did exactly just that. Their plan was to finance both sides of the wars. They did that. They took over the Bank of England by financing the Napoleonic Wars and deciding who was going to win. They financed both sides of the war between the states. They financed both sides of most wars. I was taught that the King James Version was first.
Reading the apocryphal text or the books that were taken out of the Bible, specifically the Apocalypse of Moses, and not only does it tell the true story of Adam and Eve, it sheds a lot of light on the Nephilim, which are giants, and it just goes to prove that if you are someone who follows religion, you need to read these books. And if you are unfamiliar with the Apocrypha, these are not works or books that were forgotten in modern day Bibles. They were actually taken out by a single religion that I will not name for controversial reasons, only because they did not align with what they wanted people to know. And as someone who has been studying these specific books that were taken out of the Bible, I will tell you firsthand that they contain so much information that it will blow your mind. Not only do they talk about the true origin of giants or the Nephilim, they go into detail as to what happened between Satan and God. And now I am on the story of Adam and Eve and what they really did, what really happened, and how they were dealt with. If you are interested in learning about the Apocrypha, you can go to some of my videos where I talk about each one in book by book. But this specific one is going to be about the Apocalypse of Moses, or the true story of Adam and Eve. Now, if you are familiar with the real story of Adam and Eve, it goes as Adam and Eve were in this sanctuary and garden, and God made them so pure, and a serpent came and whispered to Eve. Eve ate the apple, and so did Adam. And in doing so, they realized that they were given all this knowledge, and they were shamed because they now know that they are naked, which God tried to hide them from. And that's pretty much where the story ends. That is the watered down version that is told in multiple religions to try to shield you from what really happened and what Adam and Eve really created. Mind you, this apocryphal text is multi-cross-referenced in many other apocryphal works in different religions. So not just the English version of the Apocrypha, but the Hebrew and Aramaic, it's everywhere but where it needs to be, which is in modern day religion. So I'm going to tell you the real story. People are aware that Adam and Eve created Cain and Abel, and Cain and Abel were the sons that one killed the other out of jealousy. But what people don't know is that Adam and Eve actually had 30 sons and 32 daughters. Cain and Abel were brothers, but they also had twin sisters. In the Apocalypse of Moses, Adam and Eve are speaking to their daughters, these 4 specific bloodline of them, and telling them the story of when God casted them out of the garden. The first thing that is not really correlated well when it comes to the story of Adam and Eve is why Eve ate the apple. It was not because a snake came to her. In the Apocrypha, it says that the actual Satan came to her with a serpent tongue and told her to eat the fruit. So the devil whispered to her and betrayed her and said to eat the fruit. And she ate the fruit, but when she did so, she promised the devil with the serpent tongue that she would also make Adam eat the fruit. So once she ate the fruit, everything in the garden died, except for the fig tree, where she got the fruit from, and this is where she found the clothes to cover herself. A lot of people don't realize that Eve was by herself and Satan took the form of another angel, but he used a serpent's tongue to persuade her to eat the apple. And when Adam came back, she did the same to Adam, and that is why Adam ate the apple. After they ate this fruit, God came with them to the archangel Michael, and he came to them in a chariot within 1 hour, and he bestowed upon them their punishments. God banned them from the garden because not only did this apple let them know that they were naked, what that really was they found lust and they fornicated. So because they fornicated, God told them he is banning them from the garden, and he also gave them their own separate punishments. God turned to Eve and said that you will bear children. You will have these pains in your loins, and you will not be able to get past this pain, for you will feel it for hours and hours to come until you bore a child. And he looked to Adam, and Adam's punishment was pretty much, hey, I'm gonna kick you out the garden too, and you need to stand by your wife, but you will be dealt with pain and you will have sickness, and every time you work there will be nails that scratch your hands, and you will go tired, you will grow fat, and you will grow poor. God then goes on to tell them that one day I will rescue you. One day you will receive my mercy, but not anytime soon. And Adam and Eve go through this eternal cycle of Satan tricking them and then them dying because of it, right? Like this whole life cycle, because Adam and Eve lived for 950 years. Also separated, and that's when she gave birth to Seth, Cain, and Abel, as well as their 2 daughters, which did not know anything that their parents did. Adam and Eve were well aware that Cain and Abel, one would kill the other, because Eve had a dream about the other drinking the blood and spitting it out, which really signified them killing each other. And in doing so, they created a murderer. And this murderer went on to have wickedness in his blood and his bones, and thus he gave forth to the mighty men, the Nephilim. Okay, so remember how I told you I read the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apocrypha, which are the hidden books of the Bible, and go over what I find in them? Have you guys ever heard of the angels, the biblically accurate angels and the fallen angels that are in these books? And remember, I told you fallen angels, they fell to earth, corrupted mankind. They gave men things like war. They gave jewelry to women, makeup to women. They fornicated with different animals and fish, creating sirens, cyclopses, and these half horse, half human creatures. They were abominations. But we never really talked about the different types of angels that fell from heaven, what they look like, and what they may have created. And these angels show up in the Apocrypha, or the hidden books of the Bible, and I believe this is why, another reason why they were taken out of the Bible. So yes, there are different types of angels, and they even look different because they have different responsibilities, or even they're closer to God, or they are over certain things that just make them look different in the Bible. The Old Testament is really good at describing what these angels look like, and they're actually some scary angels. Like, all angels are not beautiful. Remember how I told you that fallen angels study humans? Like right now in today's day and age, they study humans so they can become them and look just like them. It makes sense that it's because they don't look human like at all and want to blend in and, you know, participate in the fundamental actions of mankind, the reason they corrupted mankind. I'm going to start with the first angel that I feel walks among us, but we can't tell who they are because they have learned and incorporated itself into being this human-like entity. There is this angel that sticks out to me a lot. It's kind of creepy, but it's called the seraphim angel. They are also known as the fiery ones, and it is plural of the word seraph. They are mentioned in the Bible as having multiple faces, hands, and feet, and also 6 wings and eyes. Seraphim has 6 wings, and each one of their wings serves a completely different purpose. One set is used to cover their face, denoting reverence and awe and acts of protection from the radiance of God's glory. Another set of wings is used for flying to aid in their swift servitude. And the third set is used to cover the seraphim's feet so they can humbly conceal their unworthiness. They have the appearance of burning flames, and their name literally means to burn with fire. God created these angels to be sinless angels, but they are not equal to God. The fact that they must cover their faces to protect themselves from blinding light of God's presence, even though they are sinless in nature, says a lot. What if the reason they have to hide their face is because there is something up under those wings? And the reason they hide their feet, I think that this is why fallen angels have to observe humans and do what they do to humans.
Y'all, what I found in the Testament of Solomon blew my mind. A couple of things I want to show you when it comes to like anger or home or men or women leaving each other. Y'all, it is all in this book. There is a reason why these books were taken out of the Bible, because they're just too real. All right, check it. I'm going to show you a few things. This is Solomon, right? And he's talking to the demons. And he says, "Who are you?" And the demon answered, "I am called Orneus." And Solomon said to him, "Tell me, O demon, to which of the 12 signs are you subject?" Okay? And he answered, "To the water pourer or Aquarius." What? All right, let's get down. Here's what Orneus says. "Whenever men come to me," y'all, this blew my mind. "Whenever men come to me enamored with women, I transform myself into a beautiful female, and I take hold of the men in their sleep and play with them." What? You know the Bible don't got that. They took this out. "I take hold of the men in their sleep and I play with them." So for the men who are having, what they call wet dreams or whatever, and especially when you're first going through puberty, spiritually, this is why, okay? "And after a while, I take to my wings again and hasten to the heavenly regions." So he played with y'all and then runs. "I also appear as a lion, and I am commanded by all the demons." Check this. "I am the offspring of the chief messenger Uriel, the power of God." All right. There's some more, but here's what I want to show you too. If you're having aches, pains, body stuff, can't understand why, there's demons for that apparently. So this one, and there's some demons' names I can't pronounce, but I'll get it one day. All right. "And the seventh," which is a demon, "and the seventh said, I am called Sphandor, and I weaken the strength of the shoulders and cause them to tremble. And I paralyze the nerves of the hands." If you're having nerve issues in your hands, okay? "And I break and bruise the bones of the neck, and I suck out the marrow. But if I hear the words Ariel imprison Sphandor, I immediately retreat." Okay? Here's some more. Check these real quick. The 21st, that's a demon. So the 21st demon basically said, "I am called Aloth." Listen to this if we have children. "And I cause coughing and hard breathing in children." Y'all, if you think of asthma, right? "If anyone writes on paper Rorex," which is an angel or archangel, "pursue Aloth and fasten it around his neck, I immediately retreat." This other one, "I am called Enuth. I steal away men's minds and change their hearts and make a man toothless. If he writes Alazul," which is an angel, "pursue Enuth and ties the paper around him, I immediately retreat." Okay, let's check this one out. Let's see. The 31st, which is a demon. So the 31st said, "I am called," remember I said I can't pronounce them, so bear with me, "and cause lingering disease. If you throw salt, rub in the hand into oil and smear it on the patient, saying, Seraphim, cherubim," which are the angels, "help me, I immediately retreat." One of these last ones, check this. The 34th said, "I am called Autothyth. Listen, I cause grudges and fighting. Therefore, I am frustrated by" who? "Alpha and the Omega, the Almighty." Alpha and Omega, if written down. The 35th said, "I am called Fenthoth," I can't pronounce it. Hear this, no. "I cast an evil eye on every man. Therefore, the eye, much suffering, if it is drawn, frustrates me." We've all seen like the blue and the black, like evil eye, wards off the evil eye. People think it's not real. Right here in this book. Right here. Okay? Last one I'm going to show you. The 36th demon said, "I am called Bionakith. I have a grudge against the body, and I lay waste houses. I cause flesh to decay and all else that is similar. If a man writes on the front door of his house, and I actually have this on the front door of my house when I saw this, Melto Ardu Anath, I flee from that place. And then the last thing I wrote down, y'all demons know the time of death. It says, we demons ascend into the expanse of heaven and fly around among the stars. And we hear the sentences which go forth on the souls of men, and immediately we come, and whether by force of influence, or by fire, or by sword, or by some accident, we veil our act of destruction. We hear it all the time, especially if we grew up in the Christian church, y'all. That everything starts in the spirit, right? We're fighting against what? Spiritual things, not flesh and bones and blood. And the Testament of Solomon in the Apocrypha, these are the books that they took out of the Bible, has it.
They are hiding the truth about the firmament. This is why in all of our newer Bibles it was changed to expanse. And we go to the good old King James, and God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. So the Hebrew word for firmament is rakia. It means extended solid surface. It was considered by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above. This is literally the biblical usage. Known as the vault of the heavens supporting waters above. So he said he made the firmament, divided the waters which were above the firmament from the waters which were below the firmament. That's our oceans. Now what is the firmament made out of? Job 37:18, hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. So the firmament is as a strong looking glass, which is why the Hebrews said it was a solid surface. So the earth is flat and circular like this, with the firmament glass dome going over top of it. We can back that up with Isaiah 40 verse 22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. He said the heavens are like a tent to dwell in, right? Well, these are the type of tents they had back in the Bible days. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a circular tent. They're always flat with a dome over top. Now you're wondering, where's the sun, moon, and stars? Because guess what? Outer space is fake. He said there's water on the other side of the firmament. Well, let's just go back to Genesis 1. God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon earth. So the sun, the moon, and the stars are all inside of the glass firmament dome. It looks something like this. This is the true Hebrew cosmology. This is actually how all the ancient civilizations depicted the universe. Look at that. And all this information has literally been lost and hidden to keep you from knowing the truth. And that truth is the Bible is true, and the God of the Bible is our God. This is why I made the True Earth book for you guys. You can go download it right now in my bio.
I know that was a lot. I do. But I wanted to talk about, too, he mentioned the Rothschilds. If you don't know who the Rothschilds are, I encourage you to go and look them up. But the Rothschilds is a banking dynasty family. Nathan Rothschild, and I would have to do a whole segment on the Rothschilds. But and they're still moving around. They're what will be called the hidden government, the hidden hand, or one of those 13 bloodlines that we're going to talk about later on too. I think that's in part 3. I think it is in part 3. But he is one of them, along with Rockefeller and everything. We learned about slavery in Rockefeller School. That's what I call it. Because Rockefeller gave millions to create the General Education Board. The General Education Board in this country. So they are really like the movers and the shakers in the education field. And then what really got me, y'all, really what got me, this was what got me. And it's many, sorry, I hit the computer. It's many other schools. It's many other colleges. Now we talk about Spelman. Spelman is actually named after John D. Rockefeller's wife. Her name is Laura Spelman Rockefeller. So a historically black college is named after a white woman. And no knocks to white people. Ain't no, that's not no knocks in the. I have no problem with no racism. I'm just curious. And it ain't just that one. Do your research. Like I said, I would take all day. I would take this whole thing, busting down all that stuff. But it's really like what? And then to hear that Rockefeller, I think I got it right here. Rockefeller quote said that he wants a nation. He does not want a nation of independent thinkers. He wants a nation of workers. So meaning he doesn't want you to be creative. He doesn't want you to be an entrepreneur. He doesn't want you to do what it is that you're divine to do. Because every one of us has a different mission. Go watch the movie Soul. I'm not gonna say it's just like that, but just go watch Soul. It'll kind of give you an idea that you do have a mission. You are here for a purpose. Every single person is here for a purpose. It's your job to find out what your purpose is and live that purpose. And it could be multiple purposes. Was interesting, but they run. They're the hidden hand, and it's not just them. It's the Carnegies, the Ossinis. And Eve, when they bit the apple, they learned about lust and fornication, right? Well, heck yeah. With 30 sons and 32 daughters, 62 kids. Bless their heart. That ain't for me. 60 kids. Close your ears. Boy, I tell you, huh? They couldn't get enough of each other with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is a lot. I know back in me, like I know when, that was a whole different world. But I'ma just think that maybe they had some concubine stuff going on and he had some extra wives or something. Because she got pop out all them. Popping out one is enough. That was wild. But it did kind of give those missing links to parts of the Bible that I was just like, oh, what happened? No, now it makes sense. Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. You know what I mean? And yes, she probably was having twins and triplets, bless her soul. The book of Enoch kind of was self-explanatory, and I wanted you guys to also think about the fact that everything that they tell us is make believe and not true and imagination. No, it's real. It's real. They don't want you to know, but now that the veil is being thinned and lifted, you're going to know. That's why stuff is happening and life isn't the way it used to be, and everything is going like. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be more of that. Lots more. We just getting started. So our next section, we're gonna talk about God and Jesus' real name.